Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Shabbos Angels. And this week, our Torah portion and our real life kind of coincide, and that is coming to an ending. It's the week of exams, the school year is coming to an ending, and we're also completing one of the Chumashim, one of the 5 books of Moses, which means that at the end of the Torah portion this week, we say something called Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazik, which is all about be strong, and may we be stronger. And I really want to wish for all of us that as we're coming to an ending of this school year, that we should only increase in our strength and increase in our joy as the summer is coming upon us. And I'm wishing all of us a really relaxful and rejuvenating summer. And what we have today are actually 3 recipes. One is cookies that are just really easy and really yummy. You can even make them to help you through exams. And the other are 2 requests from student and alumni that they really wanted. So Josephine and Jason, the other 2 recipes are for you guys. So let's start with our cookies. We're going to make brownie oatmeal cookies. And for that, the base of the cookies are actually a box of brownie mix. I use Duncan Hines because Duncan Hines brownie mixes are kosher parv, so there's no dairy in them, and they work well for our Shabbos meal. But you can use any brownie mix. And within the brownie mixes, there's the milk chocolate, there's the fudgy, whichever one you want. They all work. They all taste really amazing. So that's what I have inside the bowl here. And I'm going to add to the brownie mix my oats, quick oats. Really simple recipe, very few ingredients, but cookies come out amazing. I'm going to add my eggs, some oil, and the last thing I'm going to add are chocolate chips. Whoop, there we go, got them all in. Of course, make sure when you are cracking your eggs, crack them into a clear glass that you can make sure that there's no blood spots in them, as blood spots are not kosher. So hence I had them cracked already into a glass cup. I'm going to mix this whole mixture together. I usually start out with a spoon, and pretty soon into the mixing I personally go to the hands. I find the hands are the easiest and best kitchen tools that we've been blessed with. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the hands. So bear with me. And once the mixture is all combined together, I'm going to take a baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and I'm going to form my balls. Once I form the cookie balls and put them onto the baking sheet, I'm going to bake them on 350 for 12 minutes. Once that is all done, take them out of the oven, and you'll want, like most other cookies, you'll want to let them cool before you try to pick them up and move them, because they do come out a little soft. So once they kind of harden a little, then they'll be easier to move. Okay, now that our mixture is all put together, I'm going to go and form the cookie balls. So I have my pan right here that's been prepared, and all I do is I take a chunk of dough, make a ball, stick it on my pan. And that's how I will keep going with all the batter until I fill up my sheet. Welcome back to our second part with our other 2 recipes. And last Friday at our pre-Shabbos l'chaim, Josephine had asked for the Shabbos rice and Jason asked for Gefilte fish. So these 2 recipes are for you guys, for Josephine and Jason, and anybody else that wants to make the rice and the Gefilte fish that we have here at Chabad. They're really simple. So here's how I do it. The rice, I normally use white jasmine. Sometimes I'll use whatever I can get at the store if they're out of stock or something, but usually white jasmine is what I use. So I put my rice in a pan. I add to it, these are the ingredients I add. I add some salt. Sorry guys, I'm kind of eyeballing it here, and that's how I do it for Shabbos also, but I'm gonna actually try to put measurements into the recipe. Then I add garlic powder, onion powder, and I guess what you would call as the secret ingredient is I use some consomme. I use the Osem brand, which is an Israeli brand, and it's I guess officially it's called chicken flavor, but it's not actually made with chicken. It's parve, but it does give a nice flavor. I try to get the one that is like natural without any of the added ingredients. I get it at the kosher store in Cleveland. A lot of supermarkets that have like a little kosher section in it will carry it, or there's other brands that make consomme as well. But that is the flavoring and one of the key ingredients that I put in this particular rice. So I put usually I'd say probably about 2 tablespoons ish, 2 tablespoons ish for a cup and a half of rice. Then I add some oil. And once I added the oil, I'm going to mix everything really well so the rice is nicely coated with the oil and the seasonings. You can also add some pepper if you'd like, some black pepper. That also adds a nice flavor. And once I've done that, the next thing I do is, the ratio is a 1.25 cups of water to a cup of rice. Okay, cup of rice, 1.25 cups of water. So I have my water prepared here, and I'm going to pour it into the pan. Once I've done that, I'm going to give it another little stir to kind of get the water mixed in. And then what I'm going to do, the key thing with this also is that I bake the rice. I don't actually cook it in a pot, which makes it a little bit easier, especially when I make larger quantities, because you just stick it in, you leave it in for about 1 hour and 15 minutes, and then it's ready. So you want to cover it with foil to keep in all of the water so it doesn't evaporate out. So cover it nicely and tightly with foil, and then it's going to go into the oven. Okay, on to the next thing, the gefilte fish. So the way this gefilte fish comes, again, you have to buy it in a kosher store or in a supermarket that has a frozen kosher section. I get it bulk in Cleveland or from New York, or sometimes in the stores in Cleveland. There's different brands. This particular brand is a pretty famous one, and it's called Unger's, but there's many different brands that make it. And it comes in this frozen log form. Okay, this is how it comes, usually in like a foam or inside its own little bag. You'll find it in the frozen section, in a kosher section. So what I do is I take this log, which comes pre-shaped, pre-seasoned, and it's wrapped in like a parchment paper. So what I do, sometimes you have to run it under a little bit of water to loosen the parchment paper, or just let it sit out for a few minutes. I take the fish out, I actually unwrap it, and I take it out of the parchment paper. See, I already have one log out because I'm prepping it for this week's Shabbos, and we use 2 logs on an average Shabbos for our family. I take it out of the parchment paper and I put it into a pan that is lined with a different piece of parchment, like a fresh piece of parchment paper. I find that if you don't put parchment or something underneath, then it tends to stick to the bottom of the pan, and then you just lose half of your gefilte fish. So again, it comes frozen in this shape, pre-made like that, but it's raw, so it still has to cook. So here's what I do. I sprinkle on the top of it some salt, garlic powder. These are like the staple seasonings here at our house. Onion powder. And then the thing that I do that gives it a nice little flavor is I actually put chili powder on it. So I'm going to sprinkle some chili powder on it. And the last thing that I do is I spray it with some like cooking spray, or you can put some oil on your hand and kind of rub it, because that spray and the oil on the top is kind of going to give it like a nice little crust on the top of it. So here we go, just a little bit of spray like that. And now it is ready to go into the oven. And the best part of this whole thing, of these 2 recipes, are that they can go in the oven at the same time for the same amount of time on the same temperature. So it's a win-win. 375 for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. And you're gonna wanna see that the gefilte fish gets nice and firm, and you get like a nice little crust on the top. And the rice, you'll see that when you open the foil, all of the water will be evaporated and the rice will be cooked. So these are two very simple recipes that you guys enjoy almost every single week here at Chabad, and I hope that you guys make one of these recipes that we shared with you today and enhance your Shabbos wherever you are, because I know that even though you guys aren't here at Chabad, we think about you every single Shabbos and await the days when you will come and return and celebrate Shabbos with us in physical. But till then, I hope you make one of these recipes and by that enhance your Shabbos wherever you are. Good Shabbos.